Approach anxiety essentially is nervous chemicals building up in your body. And why do we have approach anxiety? It's because we lived in small tribes at one point, and taking a social risk and having it fail had very negative consequences for us, right? Getting a bad reputation in a tribe of 30 people could be a death sentence, potentially. And so we get nervous around it. It's why people literally get as nervous sometimes around talking to a girl as they would about getting in a fight or going into war or something like that, because a bad social feedback in that context could be a death sentence. That doesn't make sense in the modern world. We're no longer there. We no longer live in a tribe of 30 people. It's no longer rational for that to be the case, but that's where it effectively comes from, okay? Now, how can we get through it? In the long run, the way that we get through it, whatever other method you use, the long run way that you get over approach anxiety is just by doing enough approaches and realizing that nobody died, nothing bad happened, and a decent amount of good things happened. And over time, number one, you get desensitized to those chemicals because you had them and nothing bad happened. And number two, you start to have positive associations that hopefully outweigh it, right? If on net you get more positive experience out of approaching than negative experiences out of approaching, then you'll have some approach anxiety and a lot of approach hope or approach optimism or approach lust. You know what I mean? Where there's a positive that comes out of it. So that's the long term. The long term is you've done enough approaches, you're desensitized, and also you've done enough approaches that you have positive reference experiences, and the positive to negative is now favorable for you. That's the long term. Along the way, there's a lot of like tricks you can do, a lot of like mental tricks you can do, and a lot of other things you can do to make the process easier. One of the best tricks is to change your idea of what is a win and what is a loss, and change your idea of what you're trying to achieve. If you, every time you approach, you have two outcomes. I slept with the girl or I failed. And you're a beginner. How many failures are you going to have for every success? Potentially infinity, right? Potentially infinite, because you don't have the skill to succeed yet, maybe, right? Or maybe you don't even have the balls to succeed. Maybe it's not even skill, it's balls. That's how I was when I started out. I was so scared of going for a kiss or physically escalating that it would have literally been impossible for me to sleep with a girl. And in fact, when girls showed interest in me, I would get nervous about it and probably run away because of the awkwardness. And so if that's my psychology, it's literally impossible for me to sleep with a girl because I'm going to sabotage it, okay? So, and if I had that psychology and also the psychology that every approach that doesn't lead to sex is a failure, there's no fucking way I'd ever get good at cold approach because I'm just destined to fail 100% of the time and it's going to suck, right? If on the other hand, I know that in the past I haven't been able to talk to a girl and I've been nervous about it and I think less of myself because of that. And now I went and talked to a girl and I had a pleasant 3-minute conversation. It was exciting and fun and interesting for me and it didn't go anywhere, but I'm just proud of myself for doing it. It feels like the biggest win ever. Well, now I'm encouraged to do the next cold approach, right? So setting your criteria for where you're actually at and what is a win for you is absolutely huge. Because again, if you're asking yourself in order to feel a win, to do something that's impossible for you, you're guaranteeing yourself failure. If you're asking yourself in order to feel a win to do something that is very possible for you, now you get to have successes along the way and you get to feel progress, right? And you should be comparing yourself not to the hottest guy in the world or not to the guy who slept with 1,000 girls or something like that. You should be comparing yourself to your past self. If this week you can talk to a girl and have a good 2-minute conversation and last week you couldn't, that's fucking awesome. And that's progress and you're on the path. And if you keep up on that path, you're going to get good a lot faster than you would think. But if you get discouraged by those good 2-minute conversations because they didn't lead to a phone number, didn't lead to sex, and you quit, then you will never get good, right? And you're going to also walk away from the approach being like, oh, that fucking sucked, as opposed to, oh, that was fucking amazing, or oh, that was fun, or oh, that was interesting, okay? So changing your focus to I'm trying to achieve this thing, and that's a win for me. And also, if you have approach anxiety, just doing the approach is a win, okay? You know, my first approach I ever did in my entire life, I walked, I can tell you all the stuff around, it doesn't really matter. But I finally got up the nerve to approach this girl. It took me a fucking long time. I walked in, I said, hi, I just like, I wanted to, you're gorgeous. So would you maybe want to go out with me sometime? And she goes, oh, thank you, that's sweet. I have a boyfriend, but thank you, that's so sweet. I appreciate it, right? And I walked out of that and I was like, yes, I did it. I fucking did it, right? I was so excited and so happy that finally, after years of wanting to do it, I did it. And she didn't tell you creepy fucking guy, go get away from me. She said, thank you. She said, thank you, right? Now, did I succeed in that approach? No, I just got like a polite, condescending thank you. But I was so fucking happy because by comparison to what I had done, it was an accomplishment. And to be fair, even if she did reject me, I might have still just been happy that like I still just had the balls to do it. And that's the criteria. The criteria is, did you do the right thing? Did you do the best you can? Are you proud of yourself, right? And that's a win if you are, irrespective of what the girl brings to you. So don't give her so much power over you. Don't give her the power to decide whether it's a win or a loss. If you did your best and failed, quote unquote failed, it didn't work, that's a good thing. You did your best, be proud of yourself. It's also a good thing from a learning perspective, because every time you did your best and failed, that means that you have a great opportunity to go back and revisit your model and make it better, right? So that your best doesn't fail. Right? So changing your perspective is my favorite way to do it, and I think the best one long term, as a short of the experiential one. The long term experiential one of having successes, having non-failures, and just getting the real world feedback is the long term solution. The medium term solution is changing your perspective and outlook such that you find wins. Right? That's very, very important, because objectively these things are wins, but our psychology often treats them as losses and beats us down. Right? And then when you are going and expecting a loss, of course you're going to have anxiety, right? And especially if you have a calculus of outcomes where like it's a guaranteed loss, of course you're going to be anxious, but of course you're not going to want to do it. Who wants to go guarantee a loss? Doesn't make any sense, right? So setting that up works. There are also sort of very short-term solutions, like things like building your state, building momentum, those kind of things, which are useful on a day-to-day, right? So pumping music you love on the way to the club and being in a good mood helps. Right? If you just had an amazing day at work, it helps. Those kind of things help. If you like dancing, going and dancing and moving to the music can help for some people. If you hate dancing, it's only going to make you feel worse. Right? But if you actually like dancing, that can be good for some people. Another state-based one that can work as a short-term pump is I like to go find a mirror, and I set myself like a minute where I'm able to smile, smirk, or wink only. Right? And a funny thing happens when you're happy, you smile, but smiling also makes you happy. Right? So if you force yourself to smile, you will become happier. If you force yourself to laugh, you will become happier. If you force yourself to smirk and wink, you'll become cockier. Right? So you can sort of simulate the behaviors of how you'd like to be, start doing that, and then it starts to become a part of your body. And so these kind of state-based things are good little short-term solutions that you can use in a one-off when you're struggling, those types of things. Another one that's a good state-based solution is called momentum, or the idea of like approach all. Right? Just go talk to everyone, regardless of just talking to the hot girls. And if you're talking to everyone, you don't have an outcome for every interaction because you're not trying to sleep with the bouncer. And you're not trying to sleep with the ugly girl that you would not consider ever sleeping with. But you're just going through the reps and you're doing it as practice and because you know it's the right thing to do to just be social. And if you're really getting yourself in that mindset of I'm just approaching everyone, what will happen is, number one, you get some approaches in, things seem normal, it doesn't seem like as big of a deal to approach. Number two, you actually go talk to someone because she's just the next person there. You're being relaxed and chilling your best self. And then all of a sudden, 20 seconds in, you're having a good interaction. You're like, holy shit, this girl's really hot. And you happen to get into a conversation with the hot girl before you realized she was hot and before you put pressure on yourself. And now you're in a better position, right? So the idea of like opening people you're not into, building social momentum can work for a lot of people. Doesn't work for everyone, but it is shocking what a higher percentage of people that kind of stuff works for. So those are some of the shorter term solutions. So long-term solution, just get the experience. But obviously, in order to get that experience, you have to get through the short-term stuff. So changing your perspective is a shorter-term focus. Changing your state is a shorter-term focus than that. That makes sense? So those are some things that can help.
Very helpful.
Yeah. Cool. How many people are here where you miss your approach anxiety a little bit? You wish you had it back?
Yep.
A few people. Yeah. Because it's like, imagine if you like riding roller coasters, right? And then because of that, you get a job as a roller coaster tester. And now you ride roller coasters all day, every day. And that's kind of fun, I guess, aside from the puking probably. But like, it's kind of fun. But at a certain point, you're not excited by roller coasters anymore. And that initial feeling that you had that was so good when they were fresh and new to you and like novel to you, it's not quite the same. Or it's in a way like, there's a phrase for like drug users, they call like chasing the dragon, where like the first time you get the drug, it's like so good. And every other time it's good, but it's never quite as good as that first time, right? The emotions aren't quite as pure. You'll learn to eventually take that fear and treat it as excitement rather than fear. And when that happens, that's actually a good thing And then when the excitement dissipates, it's actually less fun for you, right? But it is, you're compensated by having more amazing women in your life and more sex and more relationships, so it's okay. It's not worth it, but you do kind of lose that excitement over time.